specifically talking about your individual stacking goals, the kind of 4-year cycles in like bull markets and bear markets hasn't ever seemed that productive to me. Yes, is that a thing? Yes, but just specifically about your own stacking goals, what I've found in my experience is my life has been at such a different place, you know, in the most bull market and in the most bear market with Bitcoin, that's why I talk so much about kind of just increasing Bitcoin usage in your own personal finances, okay? But what has seemed like a thing and what has as like a trend or like a, I don't know, event to plan around and think about and not be shaken out by is holiday weekends. Like long holiday weekends, as we just experienced right now on 4th of July, 2024, get weird. Like routinely, long holiday weekends, price action to the exchange rate between Bitcoin and USD gets weird. And so just having that in your head is something that is helpful, because these like weekends like this are when your stacking goals are hit. It's straight up when your stacking goals are hit, because the most popular video on the channel so far, 0.21 Bitcoin, is a big deal. And I talk about taking it 0.01 Bitcoin at a time. Like when you're trying to hit your initial stacking goals, taking it 0.01 Bitcoin at a time. The reason why crazy down dips weekends matter and why you should be ready for them and think about them is because 0.01 Bitcoin went from $640 for 0.01 Bitcoin down to $570. That's difference. That's different. That's $70 difference on getting that 0.01. So taking it like, and so say, because as you're starting out your Bitcoin journey, right? As you're starting out your Bitcoin stacking goals, you're mostly overweight USD, right? You're recognizing and you're learning about Bitcoin, but the majority of your net worth, the majority of all your finances are all still revolving around USD. Okay, so you have USD, you have quote unquote dry powder, you have USD or whatever in your accounts. And so on dips, when you have the price of getting another 0.01 goes from $640 to $670, whatever, down to $570, that's good. Like that's good, because then you're able to hammer it and get another 0.01, another 0.02 and rack up those 0.01s on your journey to get 0.21 or whatever your stacking goal is. So that's why the dips matter, is because when you're taking it 0.01 at a time, you can really get that like that dip mentality in your brain and rack up the other 0.01. I kind of skipped over this part, but you've probably heard it from other videos, and this is why it's really important to think about Bitcoin units. Like think about when you're setting your Bitcoin stacking goals, it should be denominated in Bitcoin. Your Bitcoin stacking goals shouldn't be denominated in USD, because the exchange rate of Bitcoin to USD is constantly changing, constantly always changing. Now, the exchange rate is important. The exchange rate is important and something you should always be aware of, but your actual Bitcoin stat goals should be denominated in Bitcoin. And so that's why I talk about having, if your Bitcoin stat goal is 0.21, then the most way that my brain thinks about it is you should take it 0.01 at a time. So 21 times you need to buy 0.01. And so just over this last long holiday weekend, we saw the price of 0.01 drop to $570. So now instead of having to pay $640, $650, you're now able to just pay $570, get that 0.01. And so on a long weekend, on long holiday weekends, and even just in kind of normal weekends in general, because like I'm trying to give a like, I could go off on a whole long tangent and like make up like things and think about the deeper macroeconomics of things and the ETF and like all these things and how all those things are not open on the weekends. And so, but Bitcoin is 24/7 and that's why weekends are different or whatever. Like, and probably all that's true, but there's other channels that kind of cover the just like technical like of that at a little deeper level. What I'm talking about is simply understanding that Bitcoin exchange rate does act different around the weekends. It acts different around the weekends. And so why that is relevant to you is because you are focused on increasing your Bitcoin stack, taking it 0.01 at a time. And so you can use random weekends that have dips in order to rack up another 0.01, And while we're here on the topic talking about Bitcoin stack goals, this is primarily the way I think about savings, like the long-term savings denominated in Bitcoin. When I think about growing a Bitcoin stack, that's what I'm thinking about, is like future savings, like long-term savings, that Bitcoin stack. I am of the opinion of having multiple Bitcoin stacks is like positive and cool, and you should be working on that at every step of the way, because in the legacy world, you have multiple stacks of USD, different accounts for different things, right? In the Bitcoin finance world, it can be the same thing. And a lot of content is all around building your Bitcoin stack, but that's a lot of then where it stops. And so I'm gonna take the opportunity to just say you are on a journey of building 0.21, right? But then say you do have a local meetup in your area, or you do have a website, or like you are interested in buying gift cards with Bitcoin, like anything about Bitcoin in commerce. The two things don't have to be at odds with each other, and actually aren't at odds with each other anymore. You building and increasing the percentage of your savings in Bitcoin versus your percentage of savings in dollars is what it is, and that's a goal that you're working on. And then at the same time, if you have the opportunity to use Bitcoin in commerce, whether it's buy something from a merchant directly with Bitcoin or buy a gift card with Bitcoin, that's positive. Flexing your muscles and working those technical muscles of how to send the Bitcoin transaction and getting over the hurdle of like doing commerce in a separate currency or another payment method, whichever way you prefer to think about it, is positive. And that doesn't have to be spending down your stack, okay? We've talked about this in previous videos where people are like, hey, like I'm working really hard on my stack, I don't super get like your commerce videos or your like Bitcoin replacing dollars videos. And it's like, they don't have to be separate things. You're focused on increasing the percentage of Bitcoin of your long-term savings versus percentage of dollars. That is a thing, and that's off the races. But say you already have slotted to spend, you know, $25 or $50 on flowers for your partner that month. Okay, then you have the opportunity to run $50 of Bitcoin through a gift card in order to use Bitcoin in commerce. You can do that. Or here's another thing. If you have like, if your monthly credit card bill is $500, your monthly credit card bill is just normally $500, you have the ability to stack $500 of Bitcoin and then use that to pay off your credit card bill. You have the ability to do that separate from building your long-term stack. And so that's what I like so much about kind of the current environment we're in just 2024, is that both those messages are now easier to get across. Back when I was working on my initial Bitcoin stack, there was a little bit of friction because the tools weren't all there in order to kind of use Bitcoin as your liquid money up and down your personal finances, but that is a thing now today. And so long weekends do have weird price action. Use it as an opportunity to build your long-term Bitcoin stack. The tools are available today to use Bitcoin in a more and more liquid sense as you keep integrating Bitcoin deeper and deeper into your personal finances. And both those buckets are exciting. Again, just kind of going with the theme of the weekend of 4th of July and like freedom, like fiat money restricts people. Fiat money is a net negative on you as an individual and on society as a whole. So the same way that we're kind of celebrating freedom and celebrating people being able to kind of like dictate their own destiny today and like this weekend on the 4th of July, that's what Bitcoin means to me, and that's what Bitcoin means to a lot of people, is that Bitcoin is better than fiat money. Fiat money restricts a lot of people, and so having Bitcoin replace the fiat up and down your personal finance stack, whether it's building your long-term savings or your kind of day-to-day liquid sense, is honestly really, really positive, and that's the reason why I like it so much.